Hello and welcome to another one of our Healthy Reboot series, information on why good health is so important and how you can do it. I'm super excited today because I have Debbie Bailey with me today. Debbie is a hydrocolon therapist. She's been doing that for years. She runs the Therapeutic Body Center. And I met her at a Weston A. Price conference a couple of weeks ago, and it immediately was fascinating because, as you all know, I endlessly talk about probiotics, prebiotics, and of course, healthy poop. So when I saw her booth, I had to go up and talk to her, and I was delighted because we think alike. That to me is just so important. She's got a product that I can't wait to introduce to you because we've talked a lot about why you need probiotics, prebiotics, all those good things, but when is the right time? So I've asked Debbie to come in, talk a little bit about herself, a little about what she did and why she created this really unique product, and why I think that it would be fabulous for a lot of you to try it. So Debbie, why don't you, again, thanks for coming on. Why don't you talk a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you've created? Because I haven't quite told them yet what it is.
Oh, thank you, Susan. So I have been in the health profession for probably 29 years. The Therapeutic Body Center is in Arroyo Grande, California. And I've been a colon hydrotherapist for a little over 20 years. So my heart is to help people heal. And, in that quest, becoming the colon hydrotherapist, I realized that disease starts in the gut. About 2005, I think it was, Dr. David Perlmutter wrote Brain Maker. And then these doctors were sending me all their patients to implant probiotics. I was seeing 52 people a week, way more back ends than I really wanted to do. And the challenge was that they needed to come 3 times a week for 8 weeks, and then they needed maintenance, and who could afford that? Yeah. And so I decided that I needed to find a way where I could help people without them coming into my office. And I travel also a lot with the ministry team. And so I see people all the time, all over the world, that were sick. And I was like, well, how can I help these people? So out of that, I read Dr. Perlmutter's book and decided that I would duplicate what he did. And so his research, he did all the research. I didn't do it. And that was good enough for me.
Oh,
so
love him.
Yeah, he's amazing. He stays on top of things. So that was took a year or so to try to formulate, how do you make something that you can take rectally and keep it hard. And yeah, so that was a challenge, but we got it done. It's a frozen, we call it a bumsicle, because it is frozen. Though you can take it and put the frozen bumsicle in a syringe, a 5 cc syringe, and then let it melt and inject it for people who want a more sanitary situation, and or they don't like the cold. But because it's an all natural product, I didn't want anything in my body that was synthetic or would cause any more challenge.
So, I love that. Yeah. So basically, everybody, what Debbie's saying is that she calls herself Bumbiotics, and I love the name. But this is something that, as opposed to swallowing it, having it go through the stomach and maybe breaking down and then getting into the small intestine and then having to make its way down, you insert this rectally every night before you go to bed. Yep. I love it. Super simple.
Yeah, and only 3% of probiotics you take orally make it into the large intestine, where 70+% of your immune system is. So it doesn't make any sense to me to spend good money. I don't care whether it's spores or whatever it is. I mean, there's some wonderful products there, but if the research, the science shows that only 3% make it into the large intestine, then why would you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And more and more research, we're just talking about certain books that we've got, this is a new one by William Davis called Super Gut. And again, people like Perlmutter, several of them talk about probiotics and a good, healthy microbiome. But, there's a lot of challenges with microbiome. And again, you want it in that large intestine, that colon, right? That's where you want it. You want it low. That's where most of your bacteria are. That's where most of them are really churning and burning and doing their things. Now, again, there's definitely some that goes up. They know that. This book, Super Gut, talks about how a lot of things have come up that shouldn't come up, that are moving up into the small intestine. But again, I just love the fact that you don't have to worry, do I have to swallow it? Where's it going to go? Is it working? Or better yet, when can I take it? I can't take it with this. I can't take it with that because, well, this one might interfere with that or whatever. You don't have to worry about that, right? And so Debbie gave me some samples while I was there. I told her I really wanted to work with her and try this product because, like everyone else, I struggle with my microbiome. So I've been using the product for, I think, probably close to 3 weeks now. I immediately noticed a difference. Now, those who know me, I've been on a long journey. I really have a healthy system and my microbiome is way better, but I still struggle sometimes with, I'd wake up and I'd feel like kind of like bloaty or gassy or like, God, the pants aren't going to feel as quite as comfortable today as they could. And I'm a thinner gal, right? But I got to tell you, since I've been taking these, I've not woken up one day and thought, God, I don't want to put those jeans on today because I just feel like, ugh, right? And haven't changed my diet. All my diet's really clean, but it makes a difference. And if I can think that I'm implanting, and I'd like to talk about strains in a few minutes, but if I can think that I can get 15 different probiotics into the area it needs to go to, and it's making that much of a difference that quickly, this is something that people should try. So, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, you talked a little bit, Dr. Perlmutter. Is that where you got the particular strains that you decided to use? Did you alter them? Did you do research? How did you come up with these particular strains?
These are the strains that he recommended. And because the doctors were sending me probiotics to implant into the colonic water, and I saw people getting well. So I thought, well, why reinvent the wheel? I recently had Eurofins, which is a lab that tests probiotics, had them test the probiotics in there, and we determined that there's 400 million CFUs per suppository. So when we make the product, we start out with, I think it's 200 billion, and then it's goes into a dehydrator with coconut water and coconut powder for about 11 hours. And, we heat it up to get them to work together well. And then that product comes out, and that's at about 99 degrees. Then that product comes out, and added to that is coconut water and coconut oil. And then it is mixed together, goes through automated equipment out of Italy. So there's one that fills it, and then there's another one that seals it. So yeah, so that's the process and how they're made. And I do all the manufacturing myself because I don't have confidence that it's going to be done exactly the way it needs to be done. I think that, people ask me all the time, well, why aren't other companies doing this? And I have to laugh because it's a long process and it takes time, and it's not, it's not about money. If you're trying to make a lot of money, that's not the answer for a big company, because it's too tedious in the process and it has to be right. And if it's not right, it's not going to work. So I actually had companies contact me about marketing and doing all those things, and it's not a good idea. It's like, no, we need to keep it pure. And I see so many wonderful companies who sell out to other companies, that are chemical companies and things like that for the money.
Tom's of Maine, Burton Bees, Annie's Pasta, right? I mean, all those ones that you really counted on to not put crud in, and then all of a sudden there's all this crud in them, right?
Yeah, because they want to make money. It's about money. And for me, it's about helping people get well.
I love that. I love that. Now, quick question. So what if someone is sensitive to coconut? Have you found, is that something that people that have a sensitivity to coconut need to be aware of?
Yeah. Up until about a week ago, I would say my answer would have been different. So I've had a lot of people who are sensitive to coconut. It's an allergy, who've used it rectally and never had any problems whatsoever because it's not going through the digestion. Though recently I had a mother give the suppository to her son who's 7, and he was allergic to coconut. She never asked me the question, right? She just, for some reason, didn't think about that. And he did have an allergic response to it.
Okay.
So I'm going to, yeah,
But we
that's
needed to put
somebody.
it out there. So if that's a challenge for someone, you need to think about that. And again, is this an allergy? Or is this something that's come on later in life because maybe you have leaky gut? Only you and your
Right.
doctor can make that decision, right?
Exactly.
I did want to put that out there for that. And then, another question which I said to you I wanted to ask is that, can this go to Canada? And you do ship to Canada. I love
Yes,
that. I have
I,
Canadians that ask me about this.
yeah, I ship all over the world. Actually, I've shipped to Dubai and New Zealand, the UK, South Africa. I mean, I am blown away by how it's gotten to these other countries through word of mouth.
I love that. So
Yeah.
let's quickly, because I don't want this to be too long. I like people to kind of, get a kind of a flavor. Talk to me a little bit about the strains that are in here. So there's a lot of bifidobacterium, a lot of lactobacillus. I've never seen the one GANEDEN BC30. That one's a new one for me.
Yeah, and so that strain is actually a patent strain.
Okay.
That was developed, and any of the strains that have numbers after them, that means they have research behind them. And there's more and more companies going towards that, though I'm having a difficult time finding companies that will sell single strands that they have science, backing it. But there is more of that happening. And so when you go to the website, there is a list of all the probiotics and exactly which, what they each do, whether it's for the immune system or, bacteria in your teeth. Candida is a big one. And
Love
then,
that. Huge
yeah,
challenge with Candida. Huge.
yeah. And most people, I tell them that, that it's not them that have the craving, but it's the Candida in their gut. And one of the comments I get a lot from people is, I'm going to have to go off this product because I don't crave sugar anymore, and I want to eat a brownie. Like, okay, what?
Which I love. I mean, to me, that's the whole point. And that's one of my program. That's one of the things we try to do. We try to break that sugar need, that carbohydrate need. And, it's not that easy, but if you had something that would help you with it, it'd be amazing.
Right, exactly. C. A big, huge challenge. I see it as being antibiotic resistant these days because we've used antibiotics so much. And so we're pretty big in that community. But what I want to say too is that Bumbiotics doesn't heal anything. What it does is helps the immune system. When you restore the microbiome where your immune system is, that's what heals the body. And Bumbiotics just gives support to the immune system for its healing.
Absolutely. And we always talk about this. Your body wants to heal itself. Nothing
Yes.
we do treats, cures, diagnoses. What it does is all these things, reducing the bad stuff coming in, bringing in the good stuff, reducing your EMF exposure, looking for mold, getting some exercise, getting rid of genetically modified foods, using a good probiotic. All of those things are what makes you healthy. It's not any one thing. Dale Bredesen always talks about you have a roof and there's holes in it. Your microbiome is one of those holes you've got to patch up. And by being able to give your body, and she has these great cards she gave me that listed all the different strains in there, that's one more piece of that puzzle that puts all that stuff together to give you a healthy you, right? It's a team, it's a community. Microbiome's a community. We have to support that community, right? So that means bringing in the good guys, getting rid of the bad guys, and then giving them what they need to be successful. Just taking a good probiotic isn't going to be right. It's going to help, but we also need to make sure we're feeding it the right things. We want to give it some good prebiotics. We want to make sure we're feeding it the right food. We're not giving it brownies and sugar all the time, right? That we're giving it those healthy things that it can learn. Doesn't mean we can't have some of those things, but we always want to be mindful, right? It's all about trying to give your body the best shot it can so that it can overcome. Because we do know that the microbiome and the digestive system are linked to anxiety, depression, big time right now. We know it's linked to autism. We know it's linked to Parkinson's. It's linked to Alzheimer's, thyroid issues, right? Lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. They're all linked to the fact that the body is being bombarded in so many ways. It can't do it. So each time we patch another hole, the body can go, oh, I got to fight that autoimmune disease, or geez, now I can search and do this, or I can now create this that helps the body do that. Again, it's not treating or curing. It's just giving it what it needs. It's like fertilizing your garden, right?
So true. And one question I get a lot from people is, well, does it repopulate the intestines, or do I have to be on this for the rest of my life? And I have a doctor that works solely with autistic people. And so she tests the microbiome and does a gut analysis in the beginning, and then 90 days later, and has shown that it definitely repopulates. So
that's fabulous. And again, it repopulates, but you have to keep it healthy, right? You can't go back to drinking Diet Coke and fake sugars and, you know, McDonald's food, right? You gotta keep feeding it the good things, and it will grow just like a garden. You put the plants in there, you fertilize them, they'll grow and they'll multiply, and they'll do good things. And they'll also help to kick out some of the bad stuff. You know, the good stuff definitely has a way of trying to choke out the bad things that are in there. It helps kind of rebalance that stuff. So awesome. Well, Debbie, how do people find you? Now, we're going to put a link on my website, myhealthyreboot.com. But how can people find you if they want to go directly to you?
Bumbiotics.com. And on there is my cell phone number. There's an 800 number. You can email. And what I'd like to do actually is to give your clients a discount code so that they can try for 50% off.
Woo, love it. Do you have the code, or is there one you want to make up in your mind?
No, I can tell it to you. I can tell you one right now. So it'd be all capitals, and it's BUM, BUM, WHSLE, BUM Wholesale.
Ah, love it.
When you go to order, you can, it says coupon code, and you just put that in there, and that'll give you 50% off your first order.
I love that. That's amazing. That's great. We love to hear that. And again, I think there's a lot of people that are going to be interested in this. And again, in reading the Super Gut book by William Davis. And so this is a new one that's just out. I mean, again, he's talking about how important it is that we do this stuff, and to know you can do it from the back end, get more of what you need, feel better, because you're giving your body support. There's nothing better. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this? This has been great. It's such a super interview. I'm so excited to get this out there to my folks. But, you know, is there anything that you'd like to say?
I'm just really excited to meet you and to work with you to be able to help more people, because I have a lot of clients that, you know, need support and direction. And, you know, you seem to have that together where people can learn and, you know, progress at their own speed for their healing, because it's so important to heal the gut and have those tight junctures, you know, in place so that you're not becoming allergic to everything you eat, you know. So yeah, I'm excited to partner with you, and let's help heal the world.
I love that. That is awesome. All right, great. Well, thanks, Debbie. And we look forward to maybe doing another interview. Maybe we talk a little bit about colon hydrotherapy, which is another one of the big things that I love to talk about. So, all righty, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed this interview. And again, thanks, Debbie.